Hello, good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. This bulletin is coming to you live from the Joy 99.7 FM studios, Kukumlemle in Accra at digital address GA0993341. Also live on Love 99.5 FM in Kumasi, affiliates across the country including Pad FM in Damongo, Jubilee FM in Keta and Sunshine FM in Boku. It's on ABN Radio in London and around the world at myjoyonline.com. The news is brought to you by UMB Bank, UMB Speed Up, Digibank, Let's Go. And coming up, 18-year-old girl kidnapped and raped multiple times at Aflao, now unable to speak and only communicating through texts.
All that I have labored for years, since April, Easter Sunday, all my money is finished. From this hospital to another until we reach this Kolebu.
More as doctors at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital treat wounds of the girl said to be dropping hints she wants to take her own life. Plus, we'll hear from a legal practitioner who says such victims should be entitled to free medical care.
Victims of domestic violence are entitled to free medical care.
8-year-old girl reported missing on Monday in the Volta region town of Inyeva, found dead.
Now the suspects are on the run, so we want the police to come and help us. They should find the guys for us so that our mother to start to come down. We
have details as police arrest prime suspect linked to the crime. Government report on electricity concessionaire agreement reveals that over $12 million allegedly paid by PDS as guarantee was not received by the Qatari insurance firm Al Quds, contrary to a Media Commission investigation which found no evidence of fraud. We'll bring you details of the report cited by JoyNews. In sports,
Black Meteor skipper Yaoyabo insists they are ready as they face Algeria in a crucial Olympic Games qualifier at the Accra Stadium this afternoon.
Benedict also will be here with the sports, and 2 former students of the KNUST arrested for launching fresh agitations against conversion of all male halls of residence to mixed halls.
24 is on the issue, trying to bring out resolutions to the case. The report is not yet out, so I don't know why we're sitting on a round table seeking for resolution to this particular problem. You come out with an abrupt something like this. It's really worrying.
We have details coming up in the bulletin. My name is Israel Lion. Stay tuned in. Now, let me warn you because the story I'm about to tell you contains elements some may find distressing. Weeks after she was rescued from the den of 2 self-styled pastors who kidnapped and raped her multiple times, an 18-year-old girl is now unable to speak. Gynecologists at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital have for the past week been treating wounds she suffered during the 4-month-long ordeal. The traumatizing situation is said to have left her only able to communicate with parents and doctors through writing. And now the young woman's parents say she has been giving hints of wanting to take her own life. Ivy Setoji and Camilla Adam put together this report.
After all this, my dad had been going through ups and downs to make sure that I get a better treatment. But what I want is that justice should be served. They shouldn't just go scot-free. I don't like the way I'm feeling, and I don't want someone else to go through that same pain.
It's been weeks after she was rescued, but 18-year-old Precious is still battling the scars of a 4-month-long experience of multiple sexual abuse at the hands of her captors.
They usually beat me with planks when they want to have sex with me. Every day, they find out that I was months pregnant, and then they gave me a drink. It's in the form of a water, but it's bitter, and when you take it, your stomach gets very hot.
The 2 men, George Andrews and Maxwell Peter, who posed as pastors before kidnapping her, have been remanded and are set to reappear in court on September 16. Now, Precious's family is struggling to cater for the medical bills of the 18-year-old. Her mother says all her savings from operating a restaurant along the Aflao border have been spent trying to restore her to normalcy.
All that I have labored for years, since April, Easter Sunday, till today, all my money is finished. From this hospital to another, we reach this Kolebu.
She says she's helpless.
And I'm just asking God, please, to help me. Let justice interfere in this my case, because I'm nobody.
There is a bigger issue. she is suicidal.
As soon as you start talking about that thing, she becomes wild. She now easily gets angry. She wrote something which was a little bit disturbing. I gave it to the doctor that she feel like taking her life. We are taking treatment at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, where at the same time she has to be going to a flower because of the police case, shuffling up and down, and this, and it creates a lot of problems.
He tells JoyNews his foster daughter's captors allegedly swore she would die if she told anyone about the ordeal.
She said the boys did blood covenant that if she dares reveal them, she will die. So that is one thing that has been haunting her. She asked me, will I die? I said, you will not die.
And that report was put together by Ivy Setoji and Camilla Adam. And Camilla Adam joins me in the studio with more on this. Hello, Camilla. What is the latest with respect to getting treatment for this young victim?
Well, Israel, as of yesterday, she was at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital with her parents to undergo another round of examination at the gynecology department of the hospital. The medics there say she had severe injuries in her private parts when she was brought in, and so they had to do a lot of work on her for the past 3 weeks that she's been frequenting the hospital. They've been working around getting the injury around her genitals healed, and at the same time they're also trying to get her psychological assistance from the psychology units of the hospital. So that's the latest as of yesterday when I met her.
Right, you also mentioned that she's unable to speak. Tell us more.
Israel, so the whole time yesterday when I was with them at the hospital, all the questions I put to her, she would either nod upwards and downwards if she agrees, and sideways if she does not agree, the whole time. So her father told me that for the past 1 week, she's not been able to say anything to anybody. She only resorts to writing them on pieces of papers and then giving it to them, and they also onwardly pass it on to the medics to, read and then find out how they can carry out with the medical examination and processes to get her healed fully.
How much do the parents say they have had to spend on this so far?
They do not even know how to put a quantity because, for instance, they speak about transportation from Aflao to Kolebu every now and then for the medical reviews, and also because she's in Aflao because of a court case that is pending and the police investigations, which is being done by the Qatar police, and so those transportation costs and everything have not been factored in. But when they consider the amount of money they've paid to hospital authorities from the Akachi Hospital, where the case was first referred to Akawe Hospital here in Accra, to Kokrobi State Hospital, and to the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, they've spent in excess of 5,000 cedis so far, Israel.
What does she need at this point?
From what the parents tell me, the trauma is eating her up. She is very aggressive. She doesn't speak to anybody at home anymore. And so they say that the psychologist is the first port of call at this point, and they have to get that assistance for her immediately so she can be able to, recover somewhat and begin speaking to anybody or telling anybody how she feels, so they can be able to effectively administer medications to her to deal with her problems.
Thank you very much, Camilla Adam. But beyond legal remedies, how do people in such situations get state support for treatment? In other words, what is the state's role in the provision of care and support for rape victims and their families? Legal practitioner Martin Pabu says all victims of rape are by law entitled to free medical care.
The law provides that it is the state's responsibility. So I'm talking about the Domestic Violence Act 2007. Act 732. It says that victims of domestic violence are entitled to free medical care. I know for a long time we didn't implement the provisions, even though the law itself has been passed and supposed to be part of our law. So eventually, when I was compelled to go to court, and sometime in 2017, the court affirmed what is the law. That is to say that government should implement the law. That is to say also that government should activate the fund. As I said, the first part is that you're entitled to free medical care. Okay, so that one is supposed to be the hospital. So government has big provision for how to access that health care in a facility.
You heard the legal practitioner Martin Bebu. Let's now talk about psychological support for such victims. The 18-year-old, we are told, now wants to take her life. Let's speak with a clinical psychologist at the University of Ghana's Careers and Counseling Center, Reverend Father Anthony Amponsa. Good afternoon to you, Reverend Father. What kind of support does this girl need at this point?
Yes, afternoon. I wouldn't want to add good afternoon. There is nothing good about somebody with hits like that. But all the same, good afternoon to all your listeners. The support that he will need now will be a clinician really trying to explore and query what we call acute traumatic stress. What he's going through now is the extreme form of trauma, which is a combination of all the four forms of abuse. You know, sexual abuse cannot stand alone. We have four types of abuse. That's the sexual abuse, you have physical abuse, you have emotional abuse, and neglect abuse. But once somebody is sexually abused, definitely there is some form of physical, aggression on her. So there's a combination of all of them, which is shutting her ability to have her senses work right, which of course includes her ability to speak as we talk now. So the assistance she would need now is somebody who is able to, a clinician, to be able to assess the extent of damage psychologically and help her to now relax a bit. It will bring back her speech. Then we know what exactly is happening to her and we'll be able to sort her out.
All right, and for many of such victims who are suicidal, they show signs that are often ignored or not seen at all. What should close friends and relatives be looking out for?
The obvious ones that we all know are cues that I want to die, notes and all these little ones that most of us know. But what we need to look out for in such cases will be signs where all of a sudden she appears, in her case, for instance, all of a sudden she appears so well, she's happy and everything. It could be a sign that she wants to enjoy her life for the last part. So if all of a sudden we realize that she's appearing too well, then there's a question for us to look at. We could also look at if people like that are beginning to either overeat, oversleep, or undersleep, or undereat. These could be signs. And physically, we could also look at people who would all of a sudden stop taking good care of themselves, hygiene-wise and everything, withdrawals, beginning to wear dark colors, and also wanting to, we call something anhedonia, withdrawing from people and trying to be alone and pretending that they are independent. These are some of the basic things that we could look out for.
All right, thank you very much, Reverend Father Anthony Amponsa. He's a clinical psychologist at the University of Ghana's Careers and Counseling Center. From one sad story, let me tell you about another. An 8-year-old girl who was reported missing at Niva in the Volta region on Monday has been found dead near a refuse dump. The body of Shine Hajima was discovered with some body parts cut off 3 days after her disappearance. Mother of the deceased says she's in a state of shock. Residents say they suspect the girl may have been murdered for ritual purposes. Ivy Setodi joins us on the phone now with more. Ivy, you tell us more about this rather very sad story.
All right, so the girl who was found, the mother was actually a poor, according to her, widow, even though the husband, according to her, is not there. But to her, the husband is there because she has been abandoned. And now this girl is the first child of a mother of 2 children, 1 girl and 1 boy. Now she is gone. The suspect, the prime suspect, was arrested at Daklu, in the Daklu district of the Volta region. The residents believe that he used the girl for ritual purposes. And some of the residents said when they arrested him, that's the resident who arrested him together with the police, he said that a fetish priest who asked him to drink the blood of the girl said after drinking the blood of the girl, he will become rich. So that was the reason why he did that, according to some residents who spoke to me earlier. Now, the residents are happy that he has been arrested, and 2 other suspects, we are told, has also been arrested. Now, they want justice to be done, to be served to this girl, because this thing has never happened, and now residents are living in fear because they don't know who will be the next.
All right, thank you very much, Ivy Setoji, with that report. Still on children, Acting Director of the Anti-Human Trafficking Unit at the Gender Ministry, Abna Asari, says some parents who give out their children to boat owners on the Volta Lake are unable to identify them after they are rescued. Speaking at a panel discussion at the first National Justice Conference organized by the International Justice Mission and the Bible Society of Ghana on the theme, Social Justice, a Tool for National Development, she stated that some of the children are permanently scarred after they are trafficked to go and work on the lake. Maxwell Agbagba has more.
The conference, which brought together the Ghana Immigration Service, police, clergy, civil society organizations, churches, and more, focused on child trafficking on the Lake Volta during the panel discussion. Acting Director of the Anti-Human Trafficking Secretariat at the Ministry of Gender and Social Protection, Abnasari, says some of the children are maltreated by their masters who use them for hazardous work on the lake.
And most of them come with bilharzia, skin rashes. Some they come, their eye, because they dived and a stick has choked their whole eye and they need a surgery. There are some that come, the boat, they hit their back and they've become hunchbacks. And I'm sad to say, if you give them even bed, they are afraid to sleep on a simple mattress because of the trauma, the abuse, and what we call the slave masters do not even allow them to sleep. So panic attacks and all that. It will surprise you, some parents are not able to identify their children because they gave them out as at age 3, age 4, age 7, and the child have been in slavery for like 10 years, so 13 years or 14 years on.
High Court Judge Justice Georgina Mensah Decha has been talking about how a child victim relapsed into a traumatized state when she saw her abuser.
I like the victim sits this way facing me and the accused person. So there's no direct eye contact because one eye contact and the facial expression made just frees a victim. The person will not speak again or a witness.
George Achibra, who is a member of an NGO helping to fight child trafficking, says one of the factors militating against their work is interference.
Interferences, which is coming from all angles. It comes from legal leaders, it comes from chiefs, opinion leaders. Even as much as we had at the attack is coming from within.
So where are they going to interfere? Do they go to the courts, to the police?
They run from the beginning to wherever they can reach.
Country Director of the International Justice Mission, Wool Latrop, says ignorance and apathy are some of the causes of child trafficking.
Ignorance, apathy. Either people, especially in trafficking, they say, I started off by talking about labor versus child help versus child trafficking. It's the ignorance to think that if we were to pull 80 people in Accra or 100 people in Accra, 80 people would say that child trafficking doesn't exist, or what they would think was child trafficking was helping your uncle do some chores on the weekend or something, and that's just not the reality. So the enemy is ignorance and apathy, people just not caring when they do know.
That report was put together by Maxwell Agbagba. JoyNews can confirm the government delegation sent to Qatar to verify the $12.5 million demand guarantee posted by Power Distribution Services PDS found there is no valid guarantee issued by Qatari insurance firm Al Qut on behalf of PDS. This is contrary to a Millennium Development Authority Commission investigation which suggests PDS and the other related parties did no wrong in the issuance of the guarantee. Government suspended the concession agreement with the electricity distributor on July 30 after it found breaches in the demand guarantee. The 5-member committee tasked to look into the matter also found the insurance officer who supposedly forged the signature of the Chief General Insurance Officer at Al Qut had been suspended and may face prosecution. JoyNews has cited a copy of that report, and my colleague Malik Abbas joins me in the studio with details. Hello, Malik. Very little is known about the government team that was constituted to investigate this matter. Who are the members of the committee?
They are Ambrose Derihi. We know him. He's the Interior Minister. Godfrey Yabwa Dami. He's a Deputy Attorney General and Minister of Justice. ACP Frederick J, he's the head of Interpol CID, that's Criminal Investigations Department of the Ghana Police Service. Chief Superintendent Regina Inchua Tenge, he's the head of Financial Forensic Unit at the CID of the Ghana Police Service. And Ofosuchu Tete Kujoji, he's a special advisor at the Ministry of Finance. These were the 5 people who were selected by government to constitute the team that would go and do this investigation. Now they have 4 terms of reference, and the first one was to ascertain whether Al-Qud authorized the insurance of the guarantees on behalf of PDS and in favor of the Electricity Company of Ghana. The other thing was to ascertain whether Al-Qud issued the type of guarantee PDS presented to the government of Ghana, and to establish whether Al-Qud ever issued any form of guarantee to ECG, and if so, on whose authority was this done. The last terms of reference they had to deal with was to establish whether Al-Qud had a guarantee in place for ECG on March 1st, 2019. Now, we know that these 5 members arrived in Doha on August 7, 2019, and they met with 6 members of Al-Qud, and they were Ahmed Rafi Al-Imadi, he's the chief executive officer of Al-Qud, Osman Hagmusa, and Israel, you know Osman Hagmusa because his name has been repeated in the media houses, on the media, because he signed that letter which started all of this. So he's mentioned here, he was in that meeting. Kalia Gopa is the chief financial officer of Al-Qud. There's Rahul Kumar, he's a managing partner, International Law Chambers of Al-Qud. There's Amit Shakar and there's Mauricio Suarez Bonola. These are the 6 persons who met with the 5-member delegation from Ghana to do this investigation.
All right, we're learning from this report that Al-Qud insists it did not receive any payment from PDS for the guarantee. What more does the report say in respect of the demand guarantee?
Quite a number of things. Some of the allegations that were made by Al-Qud in respect of why they refused to honor this were repeated. But the first one they raised was that, first of all, apart from Al-Nouri, the person who signed the letters that were presented to Ghana, apart from him lacking the capacity, because according to their own documents, he has a ceiling of $15 million to be able to execute or approve on his own. This was something which went way beyond that. Again, the value of the guarantee that was given to PDS, that PDS gave to ECG, was $350 million. Al-Qud says that their total asset value is $170 million. The $350 million is actually 200% higher, 200% the size of Al-Qud's financial capacity. Now, they said on the basis of all of this, there's no way that they could have issued this. The other issue they raised was that they, given their constitute document, do not even issue demand guarantees. They said that even though they have had dealings with Joe Australia, the company that came to do the transaction with Al-Nouri on behalf of Al-Qud, they have had previous transactions, dealings with them. When this PDS matter came, they went and reviewed all of that, and their review actually revealed that some of the transactions they had were transactions between Joe Australia and Al-Nouri when the board of the company was not involved. And like what happened in the case of the PDS, they argued that their board was not involved in this agreement. In fact, when Al-Nouri signed it, the person who witnessed it was a low-level person working with Al-Qud. And therefore, on the basis of that, they could not have issued any valid guarantee to PDS.
All right, now let's talk about the Al-Qud reinsurance manager who is said to have forged the signature of a senior officer of the company in this transaction.
Al-Nouri.
What did the committee find?
Well, they said that first of all, when they confronted him over this PDS demand guarantees, he denied it. And subsequently, he said that he was misled by Joe Australia, so they suspended him. Now, investigations are being conducted into his conduct, and once they've taken disciplinary measures against him, at the end of the day, when investigations are concluded, they will make a report to the Qatari police upon the conclusion of his own internal investigations.
All right, thank you very much, Malik Dabu, and there will be details of this report available at myjoyonline.com. Still to come, 2 former students of the KNUST arrested for launching fresh agitations against conversion of all male halls of residence to mixed halls.
Otunfo is on the issue, trying to bring out resolutions to the case. The report is not yet out, so I don't know why we're sitting on a round table seeking for resolution to this particular problem. You come out with an abrupt something like this. It's really worrying.
We also have sports, and then Adum Praise is in a few hours. Stay tuned. We'll be back in a bit.
My name is Kwame Sefakai, and most of you know me as a media personality, but I am also a family man. The UMB mobile banking app, UMB Speed App, saves me so much time by letting me do almost all of my banking transactions on my phone. The cardless withdrawal feature allows me to withdraw cash from any UMB ATM without an ATM card. I can also pay bills, transfer money, request for a loan, invest money, and so much more. So now, I can spend less time at the bank and more time with the ones I love. Bank anywhere and anytime with a UMB mobile banking app, UMB Speed App, and get the time to do what you love most. Download the UMB Speed App from your Android, iOS, or Windows phone today. Call 0302-633-988 for more information. UMB Speed App, Digibank, let's go!
Ago, my people, the Electoral Commission announces that the exhibition of the Voters Register comes off from Tuesday, 10 September to Tuesday, 17 September 2019 from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. daily. All those who registered from the 2012 after 2019 registration exercises should go in person to their polling stations to check if their names and particulars have been properly captured in the register. Go with your voter's ID card to facilitate fast checking of names. If you have lost your ID card, you should still go and check. Go to the polling station and have all your complaints resolved. Help ensure a clean and credible voters register by helping to remove names of deceased relatives. Come along with burial, death or obituary notice to help clean up the register. Let us help clean up the voters register to ensure free and fair election. Remember, the exhibition of the voters register comes off from Tuesday, 10 September to Tuesday, 17 September 2019 from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. daily.
Kremasa, Ghana, so we correct Mason pa. And you make us super. Me a super Mason and Kasa. Because our job no and yet better. They won't see how beautiful and high quality your work is. That be what them they use believe you. That be why me too. It be only super cement I they use. Cement mu cement. Cement papa pa. Inti me cries in ira from me cause super. Because me the super cement I DVD ra.
Super Cement is designed to ensure that your buildings stand strong for generations. Build with Super Cement. Build your dream. Build.
You're welcome back to the Midday News, and Benedict also here with the sport. Hello, Benedict.
Hi, Israel. Now, match day for Ghana as the Black Meteors take on their counterparts from Algeria in the first leg of the Olympic Games qualifier at the Accra Stadium this afternoon. After weeks of training, Coach Ibrahim Tanko and his boys will be hoping to get a good result, which will make the second leg a mere formality. Now, Coach Tanko is urging football fans to troop to the stadium this afternoon.
Yeah, well, we hope that a lot of people will come to support us. I mean, we are trying our best, and we are playing on Friday. It's a working day. So, but I believe that Ghanaians are looking at this team. I mean, a lot of people want to see this team. So we hope that we will have a lot of supporters to come and support.
So just give me a All right, so Coach Ibrahim Tanko has named a strong starting team, and Kwame Ban of Kumasi Asante Kotoko will be imposed with Kingsley Fobi playing at right back, and then Gideon Mensah will be at left back with Zakaria Fuseni and Nicolas Opoko playing in central defense. And in the midfield, we'll have Majid Ashimoro, Yabua, who is captain of the team, and Osman Bukari, who has scored 3 goals so far in the campaign, and Joseph Pentel, Dauda Mohamed on the left and right, respectively, on the wings, and then Benjamin Tekpete will be in the attack.
All right, thank you very much, Benedict also with the sports. 2 members of a group protesting the conversion of all male halls of residence at the KNUST to mixed halls have been arrested by the police. The group demonstrated close to campus yesterday. Erastus Sasaridonko spoke to one of the moments before the arrest.
Otufo is on the issue, trying to bring out resolutions to the case. The report is not yet out, so I don't know why we're sitting on a round table seeking for resolution to this particular problem. You come out with an abrupt something like this. It's really worrying. That's our main grievance. We want our hall back as a main hall. Period.
And Erastus Sasaridonko joins me on the phone line with more. Erastus, tell us about these arrests.
Well, so we have confirmed from the police that 2 members of this group who converged at Maxima Junction yesterday have been arrested. We understand from the residents that in the night, police chased them around, firing warning shots and they were able to arrest 2 of them.
Eraso Sasare Donko giving us that update there. In other news, before we go, 3 Ghanaians have been injured in the ongoing violence in South Africa, being attributed to xenophobia. A statement issued by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration says the Ghanaian mission in Pretoria is ensuring that the injured Ghanaians receive the necessary medical attention. 5 Ghanaians who do not have residence permits have also been arrested and detained at the Sunnyside police station in Pretoria. Officials of the High Commissioner visited the police station to provide consular assistance to the detained Ghanaians. In a related development, South Africa's High Commissioner to Ghana, Lulu Ngwana, says police in South Africa have everything under control after violence against immigrants broke out in South Africa on Sunday. Madame Ngwana blamed the violence largely on poverty and joblessness in the country. She condemned the attacks and says the police have been deployed to all the hotspots.
Our president has condemned these attacks. He has condemned the violence and crime that is taking place. It is taking place in certain spots or certain areas around Johannesburg, around Durban. It's not all over the country. The majority of the people are safe in South Africa. And as of yesterday, the report we received is that the police have everything under control. They have been deployed in the hotspots and they are monitoring the situation. If there are more reinforcements, our government will add more forces.
South Africa's High Commissioner to Ghana, Lulu Ngwana. And Mapitso Sepede is here, and she... Okay, help me out with the pronunciation again.
Ngwana.
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 We'll get there.
All right, what's trending on social media?
All right, so people are talking about Robert Mugabe. At Roland Jackson says, for a man that reigned in Zimbabwe for 30 years and more and still could not build hospitals that he could be treated in is nauseating. Mugabe failed Zimbabwe, period. At Tizina Nicole says, Mugabe, there was a lot of bad, but there was also so much good. At James Sano says, today, Africa is celebrating the life of one of its icon sons who dared to touch a nerve of 2 of white supremacists and imperialists. And Panache Sheikh says, it is very possible to be pro-land redistribution without compensation, without being pro-Mugabe.
All right, thank you very much, Mapitso Sabede, with what's trending on social media. And Adum Praise is just, 6 hours away. Now, here's what to expect in the next few hours. All right, so you can expect all these artists to be there at Adum Praise, which is at the Perez Dome. The tickets are still available. If you come to the front desk of Joy FM, you can get it. There are several other outlets. And so just make a date with Adum Praise. Comes up in 6 hours. Thank you very much for listening. I'm Israel. Have a good day.